Lesson 4.2, Adding, Subtracting, and Multiplying Polynomials. Our essential question, how do you add, subtract, and multiply polynomials? There were 4 problems left on the page for independent practice. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. So I want to go ahead and solve this problem horizontally. So I had a 5p to the second minus 3, and then I was supposed to add everything that came in the second parenthesis. So I'm going to add my 2p to the second, and then I'm going to add that negative 3p to the third. So squareds are only supposed to go with squared, so this is a 5p to the squared plus 2p squared. Thirds can only go with thirds, so that's a minus 3p to the third, and constants can only go with constants, so that's a minus 3. So squareds only go with squared, so I have a 7p squared. Thirds only go with thirds, he is the only third. And constants only go with constants, he's our only constant. Only problem is, I totally forgot to put this in standard form. The thirds just go before the squareds. So this is a negative 3p to the third plus 7p squared minus 3. Let's go ahead and do this one vertically. So making sure that's in standard form and every exponent value is used. So 2n to the third had to be used first. There were no squareds. There were no n's, and there was a constant, he was a 4. I now need to line up this with the next one, so it's n to the third, so here's my 5n to the third, and a 2 constant. It had no x squareds and it had no n's. This was a adding problem, so I'm going to come through and I'm going to write add on every single place value, and we are doing these values separately. So looking at my n to the thirds, I had 2 of them, I added 5 of them, I got 7. Looking at my n squareds, I had 0 of them, I added 0 more of them, I'm still left with 0 of them. Looking at my n's, I had 0 of them, I'm adding 0 more of them, I'm still 0. 4 plus 2 is 6. So what do I actually have? I had 7n to the third, there were no n squared, so I don't write it. There were 0 n's, so I don't write it, and then there was a positive 6. So this is the answer when I solved it vertically. Let's go ahead and solve this problem horizontally. You start off with everything that was in the first parenthesis, and now I'm told that I have to add everything that comes in the second parenthesis. So I'm adding the 10x to the fourth, I am adding the 7x, and I am adding that 5x to the fifth. So putting like terms next to like terms so I can see this easier, my fifths need to go with my fifths, so that's a negative 7x to the fifth plus 5x to the fifth. My x to the fourths need to go with x to the fourth. It appears that he is the only one. My x's go with my x's, so that's a 2x and a 7x. And the last thing left is a constant, and he is my only constant. So now physically combining the like terms, my x to the fifths, there were negative 7 of them, and I added 5 of them. I'm left with negative 2 of them. X to the fourth, he's the only x to the fourth, so I have 10x to the fourth. X's can only go with x's. There were 2 of them, and I added 7 more of them, so I have 9 of them. And constants can only go with constants, and he is the last one. So this is my answer when I solved it horizontally. Last one, I'm going to go ahead and solve vertically. So exponent 4, then 3, I need a 0 placeholder for the 2, a 0 placeholder for the 1, and then here is my constant. So I have k to the fourth, here's my k to the third. You said placeholder for squareds, placeholder for 1, and then there is my constant. The second parenthesis gets lined up underneath using the proper place values. So x to the fourth goes under x to the fourth. The thirds go under the thirds. The fifth, oh, we had a fifth, and there was no fifth at the beginning, which meant my fifth needed to come right out here, and that meant my first half didn't have a fifth. So there are holes in these, and I am supposed to add them together. So here's me coming through, adding all of my place values together. These were their own. They snuck in there because I didn't realize it. And then here's another one. And here are all my place values. 0, k to the fifths. And I added a negative 8k to the fifths. I'm left with a negative 8k to the fifth. My k to the fourths, I had 1 of them. I added negative 5 of them. I'm left with negative 4 of them. My k to the thirds, I have negative 3, and I added 6, so I'm left with a positive 3. My k squareds, I had 0, and I added 0 more. I have 0. My k's, I had 0, and I added 0. I'm left with 0. My constants, negative 3 plus 0 is a negative 3. So I have a negative 8k to the 5th. I minused 4k to the 4th. I added 3k to the 3rd. There were no k squareds, there were no k's, but there was a minus 3. This is me adding it vertically.